Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, we are riding high on the Eruption love, giving thanks for 6 feet tall jelly beans, and getting our gear ready for the Master King's Fall raid. Another week, another excuse to drop some truly not great jokes. Oh, and some info. We've got that too. While not every TWAB will have a ton of new info, that's the nature of life, baby, this one does have some key dates, a closer look at another Destiny 2 crossover, and some important updates on known issues. But before we dive into all of that, we've got a quick update from our product security team. Ready to go? Let's get into it. The multiple facets of online game security. Oh, what's this? Are we gonna talk about cheaters? Before we jump right into what else we've got going on this week, we wanted to take a moment to share more insight on recent activity around account bans. We've got the Bungie product security team here to chat about what's on the horizon regarding account protection and maintaining a solid foundation of integrity for our play. So the Bungie product security team, our mission is to protect players from cheating and enable players to experience the game as its talented designers intended. We wanted to prevent cheaters from being able to ruin the experience for legitimate players, whether that be directly in competitive PvP activities or indirectly via boosting or making new burner accounts and bringing them into in-game content like trials. Hence the paywall. The success of BattleEye has allowed us to focus on new data science, machine learning, and analysis tools. Some of the first detections went into limited deployment earlier this year, and we have moved some into full production with others coming later this year. After building our model, we carefully tracked and accounted for the changes introduced by each game release, analyzed known bugs for likely impact, and assessed sandbox changes. We did all of this to minimize the risk of false positives. Beyond these initial precautions, we set various generous thresholds so that nobody would be banned for having cosmic rays strike their computer and flip an errant bit. After all of that, if there were any borderline cases, we used some signatures that indicate the presence of certain cheats on the user's computer. This resulted in one of the largest ban waves in our history. Some people whose accounts were banned have said they don't remember cheating. Oh, really? When we investigate these cases, we often find that they gave their account to someone else to play the game for them. We again remind everyone that you must protect your account and do not use account recovery services. Saying that your fingers were not on the keyboard when cheating occurred will not be considered during an appeal. Yeah, guys, back when trials first released, account recoveries got way out of hand. Essentially, there's these big websites, you pay them to take you through in-game content like raids and more specifically like trials. Now, I know there's account recoveries for PvE, but PvP was the big one, as they would charge a premium to take your accounts flawless. In the process, though, a lot of the people doing these account recoveries weren't actually good players themselves. They would simply use cheats to guarantee their own flawless. You wouldn't know about it. You get your account back and you're like, yo, I've got flawless loot, hell yes. And then suddenly you get banned. And the biggest eye-opener for me for these account recovery websites, like how much money they were actually making, was when one of them reached out to us and offered us $10,000 just to give them a 30-second shout out in one of our videos. So that gives you kind of a ballpark idea here of how much account recoveries were actually raking in, at least before BattleEye was implemented. I'm glad Bungie's anti-cheat has continued to evolve, especially considering we have competitive getting reworked next season. Moving on, Iron Banter, a post-Eruption look. Like many of you, spent a lot, probably more than wise, of time going head-to-head with fellow Guardians in the newly added Eruption mode that took over Iron Banter this season. For a quick first week wrap-up, we've got the Rituals team back once more to dive into the reactions to Eruption and some inside info into a change that went live midweek regarding skill-based matchmaking. One more note before we dive in, the SBMM midweek changes did not apply to Iron Banter. They only impacted the control playlist. So Rituals, a celebration of PvP for everyone. One of our main goals with the changes to Iron Banter was to lower the barrier of entry and widen the funnel for players to participate in the Iron Banter. Historically and expectantly, we usually see the most engagement on the first day of the event, followed by a significant drop-off in players until the weekend comes. With Eruption, we were seeing a consistent number of players across all days, and even an increase on the weekend. The number of hours played per player over each subsequent day of the week continues to increase. We like to interpret this as generally favorable feedback regarding the game mode as well as the Iron Banter ritual. We're glad to see this is resonating with a large demographic of players, and we're hopeful that we're on the right track toward accomplishing our goals. Now, scoring issue. That said, we are aware of a bug where shutdown points are being awarded for each damaged participant. This is not intended and is causing larger swings in team scores than intended. We are actively investigating the issue and are looking to get a fix for the second week. Now, control, matchmaking changes, and quitter penalties. Oh, fellas, we haven't even talked about that. Control actually has quitter penalties now. Matchmaking times and skill. On average, matchmaking times for control have only increased by about 10 to 15 seconds. We're glad to have not increased matchmaking times for the majority of players. But for players on either extreme of the skill curve, their matchmaking times have either doubled or more than doubled. High and low skill players naturally have fewer opponents at their level. As such, we adjusted our configuration so that matchmaking expands to a wider range of skills sooner, thereby finding a match sooner for those players. We don't expect this to affect the control experience for most players in the middle of the pack, and we hope it broadens the available pool of guardians for our high and low skill players to match with. Now, latency. While we expect the above changes to reduce matchmaking times, we are also comfortable tuning the knobs to prioritize latency a bit more. We realize our initial numbers allow for higher latency connections earlier than necessary. We made a change to restrict latency for longer before expanding the allowable latency threshold, and this change sacrifices some matchmaking time for the sake of better quality matches. Overall effect, players matching in under a minute should see no change in skill player or connection quality. Players that take longer than a minute to match should see increased connection quality, but a slightly wider skill selection of players. All right? I mean, it is longer for the most part, at least for me, matchmaking times. I would say connections are hit and miss though, man. When you have skill-based matchmaking, and I know what they're saying here, but it is taking priority. I'm not saying I hate skill-based matchmaking. We've already put out a video talking about skill-based matchmaking. Obviously, I don't like balls in my face constantly, but now I'm getting used to it. It's like Stockholm Syndrome, right? Now, quit or penalty. We're aware that there has been an increase in quit rates for certain lobbies, whether due to connection quality or skill of opponents match, particularly high-skill players. While we hope that the above changes alleviate the quitting issue, we would like to actively discourage quitting, as it negatively impacts the remaining players. As such, we've added control to the list of activities that can trigger the Crucible suspension system. Note that suspension timers for control are temporarily shared with competitive playlists, Glory, and Trials. We are actively working on separating the suspension timer for competitive versus control. All right, well, you see it here, fellas. Now, I'm not for certain how long the timeout is, but yeah, there is a timeout frame if you leave too many matches. So if you're like me and you happen to run to the bathroom in between games and then you get sidetracked grabbing a snack and then suddenly you realize you've been AFK for too long, then it's a possibility you may get a timeout. I like how Bungie says, particularly high skill players. Lol. Now, map selection. Oh boy, please tell me this is gonna get fixed. Outside of one map, we don't see any predictable difference in quit rate between maps. So while we will be making changes to map weighting soon, we don't see this as a major factor in the quit rates. While we have always weighted new maps higher for a couple of the seasons, in the interest of letting players see new content, we also start specializing playlist maps in Season 18, starting with Control. We use a number of factors in determining initial weightings, quit and mercy rates, player sentiment, internal surveys, and more. And we will continue to periodically analyze the process, and as always, we welcome your feedback. In the interest of transparency, we would like to share the current map selections for Control. Increased weighting, Disjunction, Cathedral of the Dusk, you don't say. Full weighting, Fragment, Twilight Gap, Rusted Lands, Distant Shore, Endless Vale, The Fortress, Radiant Cliffs, Pacifica, Altar of Flame, Javelin, Widow's Court, Vostok, and Eternity. Reduced weighting, Bannerfall, Midtown, X's Blue, Wormhaven, Burnout. Significantly reduced weighting, The Dead Cliffs. Removed, Anomaly, The Cauldron, Convergence. Wait, why? Why were those maps removed? Bungie, the hell, man? What's wrong with those maps? I like those. In the next patch, which goes live today on September 15th, we are lowering the weighting of Disjunction and Cathedral Dusk from increased weighting to full weighting. All right, that's good. When are we ever going to get map voting? Is this too much to ask for? I don't understand. How can a feature from 15 years ago not be available in Destiny 2? Bungie, you had this feature in Halo. Somebody let me know in the comments below. Is there some sort of like technical barrier that keeps us from having map voting inside of Destiny? Now, whether we wanted it or not, we've stepped into a war with the beans and the Plunder Dome. Okay, Guardians, listen. If you at any point in time thought to yourself, I love being a Guardian, but what I really want is to be a chaotic astronaut being that is both cute and competitive whilst trying not to be defeated by the biggest foe of all, gravity, then you're in luck. Don't let those dreams be dreams. Go ahead and let that inner being out from its confines of logic and reality, because Destiny 2 and Fall Guys are together at last on September 17th, the way it was meant to be. Last month, we were finally able to share some interesting ways that we're breaking the fourth wall here at Bungie, including how you can beam that very best being that you can be. Whether you're making the Titan Vanguard proud with this little cutie on the left, or making your way downtown, walking fast, to don that best bathrobe as a warlock while passing your hunter buddy, doing their best with a new way of jumping, one thing is for sure. These beings have no right being so determined to do their little waddle whilst being so clumsy. Anyways, Fall Guys x Destiny 2, a match made in heaven. Just one of the many ways that we're proving that the world of light and darkness doesn't always have to be focused heavily on the darkness. Sometimes there are beings. Other times, pirates, talking worm guns, a celestial horse taking center stage in an interdimensional talk show. Really, Fall Guys isn't the weirdest thing we've done, but challenge accepted anyway. Go ahead and peep some of the other cosmetic goodness that this crossover will deliver, including a warlock costume, a titan costume, a hunter costume, spicy ramen celebration, and ghost shell wearable. We hope you enjoy your time in the Plunder Dome. Just remember to duck a lot, and don't be afraid to be a little bit ruthless. If it's coming down to that crown and there's a chunky bean coming your way to take that top spot, nobody will notice if you just shimmy them off the edge. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm not saying that either. Anyway, good luck and have fun. Destiny 2 body slams with the Fall Guys this weekend. Don't forget to tag us in your most epic takedowns and those endearing yet unavoidable fails of being yeeted into the awaiting slime. We want to see them all. Dang it, now I gotta download Fall Guys again. So you found yourself in a master raid. Now what? Okay, so we've all been having fun slinging Oryx's sorry butt out into the great unknown, right? While you all have been busy capturing that enticing Golgoroth's gaze, our epic raid team has been working hard on upping the ante a bit. Anybody looking to fire team up for a Master King's Fall? You better be, because Oryx is about to go Super Saiyan on September 20th, 2022 for all Guardians. Even better, we're sweetening the pot with new challenges. Oh yeah, it's going down. And here's what you need to know. When Tuesday, September the 20th, 2022, normal mode challenges will reward double loot for the encounter the challenge is active on. Master encounters reward stat-focused armor. Challenges will reward adept weapons. All encounters are set at power level 1600, powerful cap at plus 30. Like any master level piece of in-game content, Master King's Fall will be hard, like really hard, but not impossible. So fire team up, make sure to communicate with your crew, and don't forget the most important thing of all, Oryx spawns in the back. Oh hell no, that is the front! First up, I don't like this, okay, I'm just saying, yes, adept weapons are cool, but again, we are back to where we were with Vow the Disciple. We can't craft them. I would take crafted raid weapons over adept raid weapons any day of the week. And until those become craftable, I really don't see myself going after those new weapons. And I know Light GG is showing enhanced perks on these Harrowed weapons, aka adept weapons. However, when you go in the game and you check weapon patterns, there is nothing indicating that these weapons will be craftable. And it was the same with Vow the Disciple. So again, I say, why the hell would I go out of my way to get one of these adept versions of these raid weapons when I can just get deep sights and eventually the weapon pattern and just craft a much better version of these guns? Just my thoughts. Bungie, please, if you really want to incentivize people doing master raid, that's how you can do it. Make everything craftable. With that being said, there's a number of known issues still in the game. Things like the Xenology exotic quests isn't counting progress and playlist activities. The 120 Hz refresh rate option is missing on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. That's a pretty big bummer. And some players are not able to access Destiny 2 on the PS4. Also, the charged melee key binding function is inconsistent with the Titan Thunderclap melee. I know we just talked about it the other day because there was like a hotfix that's supposed to fix this, but it looks like it still has some issues. Now, one more moment of your time for a friend. Hi everyone, my name is Drew, player supporting community moderation lead, but some of you may know me as Dordo. Am I saying that right? Bro, if I'm killing your name, I'm sorry. Earlier this year, we lost a well-respected and longtime member of our community, Seraphim Crypto. Almost 9 months in, and the pain of loss remains for many of us who knew him. Trying to put into words the loss we felt has been a challenge, even now. So here's a link to an obituary I wrote back in January about my friend. As time has slowly gone by, I have dug into our moderation chat to find some of his favorite things he shared with us. Sarah's favorite Destiny class was the Exo Void of Dawn Titan. His favorite armor was from Scourge of the Past Black Armory. He loved using bows. His favorite number was 37. His favorite color was purple. He loved toast, and he always fought for human rights. To honor his memory and be a part of our game forever, several of us at Bungie, who are so incredibly awesome to help make this happen, were able to work with our designers to create a new community emblem, Seraphim's Gauntlets. This emblem represents his love of Destiny, Titan Gauntlets, and the number 37. While there are only 36 dots, one is left unlit in the center to represent the loss we feel for him. I hope that everyone who wears this emblem feels the same connection we felt for Seraphim Crypto and the love for our community. If you want to join us in honoring our friend, here's the emblem that allows us another opportunity to do just that. Guys, on your screen will be an emblem code. Much love to this team. I don't know Seraphim Crypto personally, but just reading this here lets me know that he was very much well loved. Now, as a final note here from Bungie, you know what that sound is, Guardians? That's the sound of another TWAB coming to a close. But seriously, on a more personal note, don't sleep on the Fall Guys crossover. That game has been a delight and one that I return to regularly, even if I still don't have any crowns. I just cannot, for the life of me, get good because of how much joy it brings to a group of friends. It's a fun time, and it's an excuse to have Destiny 2 exist in the same universe as other iconic characters like Gordon from Half-Life, Sonic the Hedgehog, Altair from Assassin's Creed, and a plethora of other mighty heroes. It just works, you know? Next week, we'll be diving into some more weapon theory, showing off some new spiffy ornaments, and more. Until then, please, for the love of St. 14's pigeons, drink your water, take care of you, and never forget to always try to put that kindness foot forward. See you next week. I should go. Love, Hippie. Well, guys, that is your TWAB for this week. One last note, Trials of Osiris is launching tomorrow. I'm surprised Bungie didn't even mention this in the TWAB, but yes, Trials tomorrow. We'll be live over at Twitch. Come check us out. We'll be sweating our balls off. It should be a fun time. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.